We've got days 38 through 40 that we're going to review right now. Some exciting measurements in terms of the force frame on 2 of the days at least, maybe 3, but let's get right into it. So, starting off with some David Gray specials. I believe this is like mid-phase through David Gray's program in terms of the Achilles foot program. I like it a lot. There's a lot of simplicity, which is a good thing. Although I'm taking a little bit more aggressive approach. So trying to marry the two may have been a little bit more difficult than I thought. All right, so first thing with the force frame, I also put on the longitudinal, so the timeline of our progression. As you can see, we peaked like a month prior. My eyes are unable to see that from this far away, but staying around a certain threshold at this time point. I believe the highest for that day on my, there it is, 1,039. I believe the one with the question mark was the highest at 1,069 newtons. I'm also looking at it via the Vault Hub right here. So it was 1,069. Awesome. Beginning aspects, these hip hinges with the floating heel, very difficult. Time speed, just to try to showcase some of the volume that I'm going through, not just so it's like a 2 second here, 2 second there. I think that's also very important. Got those leans, the hinges again. Slow control, trying to get into a little bit more of that dorsiflexion, and also trying to make sure that with these contractions that I'm properly firing. I definitely had some biases with my feet turned out. My external rotation of my hips, pretty good. Internal, limited to say the least. So natural occurrence in terms of the gait cycle, any active movements, was my feet were turned out. What that's going to do, that medial gastroc head is not going to fire very often. And just looking at my calves, you can tell like my medial, so the inside in terms of looking at the gastroc, was underdeveloped for sure. So trying to not only attack it from this firing point, get these maximal heel raises, but beyond just the internal external rotation of the hip, making sure that the firing of the foot itself, where the leg's at, peak force on the healthy side. We ramped up 1,193 newtons. I was super stoked about this. Also gave a zoomed in part of this. Healthy leg, 1,882, 1,326. I remember I was stoked. I ran upstairs. I was like, Jenna, let's go. And she was like, that's great, honey. 1,394. Whew. Big day. Big day that was. And this was day 39. And then the final day, the 40th training day, we got our leans. Just getting a feel for having that heavy heel. This is David Gray's stuff. Only putting a portion of it out there just because I don't want to showcase his stuff. That's just not. And then we got Brew Boy. He's looking big. Trying to smell me as I'm going through. Look at that tail. That thing's going. Got those penguin marches, walks. So a little bit more of a plyometric movement where we have a higher rate of lengthening during that eccentric. These were so humbling. These walking into a high knee, going up on that plantar flexion. I did really use a ton of momentum just to get into that in position at the top, and I couldn't hold it, not a chance. So this did have me second guess a few things where I was like, okay, should I be progressing past this until this is honed down? I guess we have to see. And then we had these soleus slouches. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of these. I didn't like them. It's the only time I did them, one time. And this is not just because, number one, I was bad at them, for sure. But I thought in terms of if this is like a very neuromuscularly driven, global, like knowing where you're at during the slouch, you're coming back up in this hollow position. I just thought there was other ways that I could go about this that didn't require this very uncomfortable positioning, you know? Not that it needs to be comfortable, but something that I'm just watching myself now because it looks goofy. This is on the rehab legs. Make sure to get into position. I'm already very, very tight in the hamstrings. Something I'm also working on too. Everything around the hips and hamstrings, definitely limited. I also had a partial tear back my sophomore year of high school playing basketball. Was out for a little while there. The rehab protocols for that were interesting. I was in a knee. It was weird. It was freaking weird. I didn't know that. I was a sophomore. We're always still just learning. See, in terms of doing an exercise, whether it's strengthening or lengthening or a combination of both, and in terms of where we're at awareness-wise, because we want to make sure we're doing everything we can to properly fire so this doesn't occur again, on top of the actual physiological strength component, that single leg RDL with a floating heel that goes up and down in comparison to the floor, so closer. The floor means more dorsiflexion. That's a phenomenal movement for not only building strength in a physiological sense, but also building strength in our neuromuscular capacity to actually showcase it in a live action event or task in which you're not necessarily thinking about it. I think that's phenomenal. Also really like these two just because the hamstring lengthening was active. Got to self-adjust, self-auto-regulate as I went. I have not integrated these nearly as much lately. Right now it is January 24th, so we're a little bit, we're past this time for sure. And I remember that was just, okay, that's it for the day. And I believe I still had some percussive therapy at the end, if I'm recalling correctly. Got some massage, some light mobility just to get some range of motion out there. Zooming in here, I'm guessing to showcase not only the range of motion, but also the scar. Oh yeah. Different coloration. It's always so weird to see. Sun. Oh no, we had some calf raises. Put the shoes back on. Okay, single leg calf raises. Additional weight on our side. Speed that up a little bit. There we go. And then we have the other side, left side, the healthy side. Feeling fairly easy. It's only 10 pounds, 5 pounds. The Vivo Barefoots. Love barefoot shoes. Absolutely love them. I've worn them since 2019, so it wasn't like, oh, I put these on and I wasn't ready to perform with these barefoot shoes, and it had been a while. No, it had been 7 years of wearing barefoot shoes fairly regularly, not to work, just because I have to wear a little more casual shoes. Although they do make casual shoes, I need to check those out. But calf raises, a lot of calf raises, and then ending with the Theragun percussive therapy. Oh yeah, feels so good. Also kind of sucks. So stay tuned for the following sessions as we're getting closer and closer to present day.